Alright, so welcome everybody. This is going to be my first time playing Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, as you can see on the screen there. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this game. I love Baldur's Gate 3, and I love Forgotten Realms, so I should moderately enjoy this game. And I've been reading a lot of the writing and dialogue, and I really enjoy it. So that's what I'm here for. The actual gameplay, aside from picking stuff, like dialogue options, who knows? Who knows if I'll like real-time with pause. I didn't really jive with it that well when I originally played a little bit of Dragon Age Origins, but that was years ago, and this may be different. So, we are going to do the tutorial, because I've never played before. And we got character creation, in which, okay, I thought that would be my name, but apparently not. Name's over here. Press the gender button to begin creating your character. All right. We're gonna do a lady. Me. The aesthetic choice. Females of the realms can excel in whatever profession they choose, whether wizardry, thievery, or arts of war. Because the Forgotten Realms isn't really sexist. They're very open to where anyone can be anything they want. Male. Hey, this isn't that kind of choose your own adventure. I'm gonna be a lady. Yeah, anyone can be whatever they want. Which I like that. Now I have a custom portrait here. And by custom portrait, I mean this is from like the portrait pack. And this most fits my little OC character. Because I always go for people with white hair. So this is what we're gonna go with. Everyone else doesn't really fit me, and also a lot of these are portraits of other NPCs in the game, so it's kind of awkward if you have the same exact portrait, if you know what I'm saying. And some of them don't even fit with classes and things that you could be, but yes. She's kind of ugly. What do you mean? Gosh, Crazy Ninja, come in here and saying like, hey, your character's ugly. Thanks. This may actually be a male, but I'm not sure. But I don't care. They got white hair. They're gonna be a tiny portrait in the corner. I'm down for it. Okay, our race. I think I'm going to be an elf or a half elf. That's usually what I go for. Because humans, the reason race matters, it's not just an aesthetic choice when it comes to Forgotten Realms D&D. If I say Forgotten Realms, just note that is the universe within which we're playing D&D. That's where this is the most popular one. If you know of anything related to Dungeons & Dragons, it's probably Forgotten Realms. You'll accept whatever I choose. Oh, thank you. What would I do if you rebelled against me in the choices I made for my character? I appreciate that. Alright, so I could have actually made a custom avatar, but I don't really make art in the art style of the game's portraits, so it wouldn't really work. So humans are the predominant race in Faerun. Faerun is the continent on which we're playing in the Forgotten Realms. That's where Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter and Waterdeep and Icewind Dale and basically anywhere that you've probably ever heard of. That's where everything is. It's the big continent. Imagine it's like Eurasia, but we're on like the Europe part. And actually that's a fairly accurate thing to say because I think we are in the more English countryside inspired area of the realms. And then further to the east is like the Asian inspired part of the realms, and the south is like the Middle East. It's basically we're in Europe. We're kind of in Europe. Humans rule most of the significant empires and kingdoms in the realms, at least at this point in time. They are the most social and tolerant of races, excepting perhaps the halflings. Accepting. That sounds kind of weird. Humans may advance as any class, and are also the only race that can dual class, but they cannot multi-class. What that means is at the start, you can be two classes at once, versus later multi-classing, I believe, is when you are, say, a wizard, and then you take little bits of other classes as you level up. Like if you want to be able to Eldritch Blast like a warlock, you can multi-class and get that ability. Whereas dual class means you are like, you know, you can be a paladin, barbarian at the start or whatever. You can be a ranger, something else. You can be whatever you want. You can be two things at once, which in this game can get kind of broken, but we're not going to bother with that because that seems a little complicated. This may be the case in here too. Humans typically have more attribute points or something because they don't have any special racial abilities. Whereas elves do. As you can see, there's a lot of extra things that come with all the other races. So elves tend to be shorter and slimmer than humans. This is a 2.0, 2.5. Whoa, gosh, I'm gonna struggle. Which version is this? I'm getting confused because there's a 3.5 and I don't know if there's a 2.5. 2E. Okay, yeah, second edition. In second edition, elves were actually short. They're like human height now. They used to be short. Yeah, I think like 4 foot, something like that. Their features are finely chiseled and delicate, and they speak in melodic tones. Elves are looked upon as being frivolous and aloof. They concern themselves with natural beauty, dancing, frolicking, and other similar pursuits. They're just like one with nature. Their humor is clever, and their songs, as are their songs and poetry. There are 6 racial divisions of elves within the realms. Gold elves, which are like the high elves, moon elves. I think it's the moon elves. The moon elves are the ones that are the most common. Then you have wild elves, sea elves, dark elves, known as drow, and winged elves, which are avarial. Though I guess those aren't extinct, but anyway. There's a lot of lore here. Sea elves are basically kind of like, I don't know. I guess they're just kind of like normal elves, but they have like gills and things. They live underwater. Wild elves are like more, I guess, tribal and things. Dark elves live underground and are in the same subdivision here. And a lot of later things, they're kind of their own thing. Yeah. You have half elves. They're a mix of human and elven blood. They are handsome folk with good features from each of their parent races. A half-elf has the curiosity, inventiveness, and ambition of their human ancestors, and the refined senses, love of nature, and artistic tastes of their elven ancestors. I don't know how much of my knowledge, like I'm just trying like not to throw out a bunch of lore all at once, because I know quite a bit about a lot of things. I don't know how much applies to this edition. But elves typically live hundreds of years. Humans live, you know, maybe 100. Half-elves are the same lifespan, I think, as normal humans. They mostly just gain the special racial abilities of elves, which in this case is infravision, which is dark vision in the newer versions. Infravision means they can see into the infrared spectrum. That's how they see better in the dark. Now we just call that dark vision because that's more obvious. Elves have 90% resistance against charm and sleep magics. I'm not sure if the sleep magics thing was always a thing. I think in current versions, they actually can't be put to sleep at all. And it's just the charm. But they're pretty resistant against that kind of stuff. We have Thaco, or Thaco, I'm gonna call it Thaco, which is to hit armor class 0, which is a very special system that we're gonna get to know. We'll get to it. I have a whole wiki thing I can pull up, and it'll be great. But basically, you get like about half the benefits or so. Most of the good stuff is here. Dwarves! They're short and stocky, easily identifiable by their size and shape. If you know what a dwarf is, it's the same thing. They have ruddy cheeks, dark eyes, and dark hair. Dwarves tend to be dour and taciturn. They are given to hard work and care little for most humor. They enjoy beer, ale, mead, but most of all, they love gold. There are 4 racial divisions of dwarves within the realms. You have shield dwarves, gold dwarves, wild dwarves, and duergar, who are kind of like the drow equivalent, the evil dwarves that live underground. or sorry, way deep underground than the Underdark. They have a bunch of bonuses against stuff. They're pretty hardy against magic in general. They also have infravision. They have some similar stuff when it comes to detecting things. They have less charisma because they're very bold and stoic. Less dex because they're short and stocky, but they got constitution. We have halflings. They're short, generally plump people, much like small humans. Essentially, if you know what a hobbit is, that's what a halfling is. They're, you know, like, I think 2 feet tall, and they're, I don't know, they're basically the size of like a small child, essentially. 2 feet tall or so, and they're pretty sneaky. And they're generally very plump. You're plump too. Just call you a halfling from now on. Their faces are round and broad and often quite florid. Their hair is typically curly, and the tops of their feet are covered with coarse hair. Very hobbit-like. I'm pretty sure these were just made based on hobbits. Because, you know, Tolkien influenced a lot of stuff. Elves, orcs, all that. Overall, they prefer the comforts of home to dangerous adventuring. They enjoy good living, rough humor, and homespun tales. There are 3 racial divisions of halflings within the realms. The Harefoot, which have hairy feet, Tall Fellow, which I think are a little taller, and Stout. We have gnomes. Kin to dwarves, gnomes are noticeably smaller than their distant cousins. Gnomes, as they proudly maintain, are also less rotund than dwarves. Most have dark tan or brown skin, white hair, and rather large noses. Gnomes have lively and sly senses of humor, especially for practical jokes. They have a love for nature that is only matched by their love for gems and jewelry. There are 2 racial divisions, rock gnomes and deep gnomes. Deep gnomes being they live in the Underdark. Maybe a commonality between some of these. Evil doesn't actually exist. It's just a label that people apply to certain behaviors based on their morality, and it's entirely subjective. This is true. Thank you so much, and wary, as usual. I call them evil because that's, in this game, that essentially means that they are the evil alignment. Generally, evil means that they're more self-centered and potentially enjoy the, I'm blanking on all my words here. They potentially enjoy hurting other people for their own amusement. It depends. Typically, evil people are the ones that are doing things for their own purposes. They're the opposite of being altruistic, being very nice and helping everybody, and, you know, being your protagonist warrior man who wants to just be friends, you know. That's generally evil. It just means you're more selfish and perhaps, you know, a bit conniving and sneaky. Conniving and sly, that's a better word. Yes. Half-orcs. Half-orcs are born from the union of human and orc parents. I don't know why we had to include that. It's pretty obvious. They are as tall as humans, but a little heavier due to their muscular builds. Their greenish pigmentation, sloping forehead, jetting jaw, and prominent teeth and coarse body hair make their lineage plain for all to see. In the Sword Coast, which is where Baldur's Gate is, it's the coastline, half-orcs are tolerated, as unlike in the north, the local people haven't had centuries of warfare with orc kind. Half-orcs are known for their great strength. So orcs essentially are less common here, versus, say, in the north, near Icewind Dale and all that. I assume, since we're going to have a longsword, probably we're going to go for an elf. A class. So, there's a variety of classes in this game, and as you can see, there's some dual classes here as well, based on our race. Actually, I can't be an elf, can I? Oh. We may have to be a half-elf. Hold on. What are there's racial restrictions to classes in this game, which is so dumb. but I think it's to make you do other classes. What are the racial restrictions for paladin? It's probably like humans only or something, isn't it? It's only humans, it looks like. That's a little weird. No elves allowed, apparently. We can double check, but I may have to be a boring human. And then we'll just pretend that I'm not. Ugh. Wiki. If you want to see the wiki, by the way, here, let me link it. If you've never played Baldur's Gate 1 or 2, it's very useful. It's a spoiler-free wiki. And, it's got, like, all the things you need to know. Maybe too much, but it's there to help you, because it's essentially a manual. They're not evil, their mom just didn't hug them enough as children. That is true. I'm reading a book about drow right now, and that seems to be the case, essentially. They're just raised to be mean to other people. So the reason drow are kind of the way they are, in that they're generally the evil race of people, is because they worship, or sorry, the biggest group of them worship is, I can't speak today. The biggest group of them worship Lolth. And Lolth is evil. And the reason Lolth is evil is because Lolth is like the goddess of like chaos. So she just wants to see people fighting over, like fighting each other, you know, plotting to murder other houses, which are like the families in like the big drow city of Menzoberranzan. And she just enjoys that. And if you're not in the favor of Lolth, all the other houses are gonna come and murder you. So they're basically raised to not have compassion toward other people. They're raised to think that drow are really cool and great. You read up to the last 3 to 4 Dritz books by RA. You almost finished it. Ooh, nice! Congratulations! As you may be able to see, I have various Dritz books on my shelf here. Though I've only read 3 of them, and I'm working on the 4th one right now. Or, like, I guess technically the first one. It's one of those Star Wars things where they had, like, you know, the original trilogy, and then they made the prequel trilogy. It's like that. I read the original trilogy, the Icewind Dale trilogy, and now I'm working on, I don't remember what they call it, but the Origins of Dritz trilogy. I'm reading, I think is it Homeward? Whatever that one is. Whatever the first one is, one of those. I don't remember, because I was reading that, and then I switched over, and now I'm reading an anthology book, which R.A. Salvatore contributed a story to, which is all about elves. It's called Realms of the Elves, and it's been like really good so far. So many cool stories. So a paladin, that's what we're gonna be. We're gonna be a lame human paladin. Anyway, paladin. So we're gonna be a paladin. The reason we are, there's a couple. This game has certain classes that are much more fun to play, and also much more geared to a newbie like me, who hasn't played the game. And by play the game, I mean, say you want to be an evil character. It is highly suggested you are not an evil character for your first run. Do you know why? Because your reputation in this game determines whether 1, guards decide to kill you on sight, 2, how expensive shops are. Because shops, if you have a really high good reputation, they will sell you things at a discount. If you're evil, you have to pay a lot more money. And there's a lot of things that can tank or raise your reputation. But essentially, evil is like hard mode. You know how to play the game, you know how to like sneak around, you know like, well, I can be evil in this way and I can still get what I want because I know a secret route, or I know how so-and-so works. I know that I don't need to buy this long sword in the shop because I know where to go find one. It's something like that, where it's like, you work around because you know the game. You know, you may decide not to have somebody who can detect traps because you know where they all are already because you've already played enough. It's one of those things where it's just better to be good. And in my case, I like paladins anyway, and paladins are a good starting class. People generally recommend being some kind of fighter or some kind of paladin for a newbie-friendly route. Why? Well, one, they're pretty fun to play, from my understanding. And two, because they have a lot of HP. HP is important because this is one of those RPGs where if your main character dies, it's game over. You gotta load your save. If a party member dies, well, you can go and revive them. You can't do that for your main character. So, these guys can survive. You don't have to worry about, you know, accidentally running to the front line with your wizard and now you're dead and now you gotta load your save and redo like 20 minutes of progress, you know? Anyway, a paladin is a warrior bold and pure, the exemplar of everything good and true. Like the fighter, the paladin is a person of action in combat. However, the paladin lives for the ideals of righteousness, justice, honesty, piety, and chivalry, and strives to be a living example of these virtues so that others may learn from her as well as gain by her actions. Oh, they actually changed it, so it'd be my gender. This is a little bit, I don't know. Maybe back in the day it was like this too in 2nd edition, but paladins aren't always good. There are actually evil paladins, and I think there are neutral ones as well, depending on the gods they serve. But in this game, you can only be a good paladin. So that's what we're gonna be. We're gonna smite all the evil to death, and we're gonna be nice to people, because being nice is like a newbie-friendly thing to do. And that's probably what I would want to do anyway. There are some really nice, like, rude options from what I've read. So, as a paladin, you can wear a helmet. You can wear any armor and use any weapon. You may not exceed specialization 2 slots in any weapon class, so you only get 2 slots of proficiency. You can use lay on hands once per day to heal a target for 2 hit points per level of the paladin. That's pretty good. Long-handed swords! Celestial Fury, is that an ability? Oh no, it's a weapon. Ooh. Alright, we'll see it. I may cast Detect Evil once per day, per level. Starts at 1st level, 4 uses. That seems pretty good. I'm not sure what Detect Evil is going to be for. I assume we can just use it to, I don't know, detect if there's like an evil creature present. You can use Protection from Evil once per day per level, which in this case, I know that would be, say you're fighting like a fiend, like a demon or something. You can cast that, and you'll have more protection against their attacks. You may turn undead as a cleric 2 levels lower, starting at level 3. So level 3 we can turn undead, which basically means that undead run away. You can cast priest spells starting at level 9. Sounds pretty good. We get a +2 bonus to all saving throws. That's always nice. Alignment is restricted to lawful good. We can't be breaking the law. If we actually go against our alignment too much, we can lose the favor of our god or goddess, and we can't use any of our special abilities anymore. We just become like a very much a weaker fighter. We also have a D10 hit die, so that's going to be rolled, and that's going to determine every time we level up how much more HP we get. We also start very low level in this game, so this is very good for like early game. Early game's the hardest part from my understanding, because you can be a wizard and you go fight a rat and then you're just dead. So, yes. So we can be a generic paladin, or we can specialize. We can be a cavalier, we can be an inquisitor, an undead hunter, a blackguard. From my looking at the wiki, cavalier is probably going to be more for me. I don't want to be generic, I want to be something cool. Yeah, watch your ankles. Remember, there's a joke that a 1st level wizard can get killed by a cat that scratches them. So, that's very much true in this game. You get bit on the ankle, you're just dead. The rats just go for the jugular or something. The Cavalier. This class represents the most common picture of the knight. Maybe that's in relation to 5e? I'm not sure. I have no idea. I thought it was just a generic wizard thing, but maybe. The chivalrous warrior who epitomizes honor, courage, and loyalty. The cavalier is specialized in battling classical evil monsters, such as demons and dragons. This has a +3 bonus to hit and damage rolls against all fiendish and draconic creatures, which I do know there are some. This is one of those things where it depends on if you know how many there really are. May cast or remove fear once per day per level. The main cool thing is they are immune to charm, fear, poison, and morale failure. Which means they're really good for a newbie, so you don't have to really worry about these status effects on your main character. You also have resistance to fire and acid, which is always nice. But you can't use missile weapons, which means you can't use like crossbows and things like that. Things that, ranged weapons essentially. You can't use any ranged weapons other than your spells. Peasants or commoners have like 4 HP. A domestic cat can kill them in combat. That is true. Now, Inquisitor, the main reason I kind of don't want to be this is you don't have any healing. You can't use lay on hands. You can't cast any of the priest spells, which are, I think, you know, kind of cool. You can't turn undead. However, you can cast Dispel Magic once per day, although I don't really know what I would use that for, necessarily. I assume you can use that to get rid of, like, mage armor and different things like that. You can cast True Sight, which I don't really know what that is. I assume that's to spot traps or something. And you're immune to hold charms, like hold person. That's one of those things where a lot of people go, soon you'll love it, and you'll just want to do hard mode, and it's like, I never want to do hard mode. I mean, the hard mode I would do is I would play an evil character. I wouldn't be I'm not the kind of person to do like hardcore permadeath stuff. I get frustrated. I want to be able to quick save and quick load and just get what I want. That's the kind of character, the kind of person and character I am. I don't mind some difficulty mods if something feels too easy, but I'm not into hardcore stuff at all. Save scumming, more like save funning, because I'm having fun and not wasting time. That's me. But yeah, if you're here for hardcore play for a person who has never played game before, sorry, that's not me. Alright, we're gonna be lawful good because we have to. Characters of this alignment believe that an orderly, strong society with a well-organized government can work to make life better for the majority of the people. We're working within the law. To ensure the quality of life, laws must be created and obeyed. When people respect the laws and try to help one another, society as a whole prospers. Therefore, lawful good characters strive for those things and will bring the greatest benefit to most people and cause the least harm. An honest and hardworking serf, a kindly and wise king, or a stern but forthright minister of justice are all examples of lawful good people. That seems fine, probably. I mean, we rolled a 98. Basically, everything's gonna be maxed out, so that seems good. Yeah, how are you doing, Tyrion? And also, how's everybody doing? In the case of Knuckles Chaotix, Chaotix means nothing. Wait, what is that in reference to? Skills! Oh boy. So, we can use any type of weapon we want, in which they're less than this. We're gonna be using a longsword, which I can get 2 bleeps in if I want. Probably will. Because the longsword is they're just the most common weapon. Otherwise, we can just get anything else we want. We're gonna probably just go for two-handed, I guess. I could go sword and board, but two-handed just seems better. If I could do anything, I probably wouldn't do the longsword. Yeah, like if everything was generally fair and there was like a lot of weapon variety. I would probably do Flail Morningstar or Warhammer for a paladin, because I just think of them like bashing something in the face. But longsword has the most weapon variety. So we're just gonna do this. We're gonna two-hand that longsword. You can also dual wield weapons, though that's better for like a rogue. Ooh, I didn't realize we could change our appearance. I can have white hair. I think we'll just go dark. Well, we'll do something like this. That's probably fine. Ooh. Oh gosh, there's a lot of sound effects. Okay.
All will die. None other than me shall be in this place.
No.
Your life shall be mine. Death will come swiftly for you.
Go, go, go! Everybody listen to me now.
That was a full day's work.
Now you're going to be sorry! I've always been leadership material.
Who's in for it now? It's about time you recognize my superior qualities.
Ha!
I will lead to the best of my ability.
I assume these are all the new ones.
Please, I need to rest.
Ah!
Do I get a hat? A leader hat?
Hmm.
Take them down! Ah! Batter them into bloody rubbish!
Ooh, I like that voice, but it won't be for me right now.
Have at you! Ha! Death comes for you!
Who's in for it now?
No.
Now you're going to be sorry!
Go, go, go! Everybody listen to me now.
I guess for... I never really liked the higher pitched voices for like my playable characters, really.
Death will come swiftly for you. Your life shall be mine. All will die.
These three I think are all the same voice actor.
Go, go, go!
I guess this one? In the name, I'm gonna be Frost. Do I need to have anything else? No, I'm just gonna be Frost. Just me, no last names. And when we talk in dialogue, we'll just have our first name anyway, so. Well, we would have our whole name, but yeah. There we go, and we look at that! We can import a biography. Or sorry, we can import a character, or we can have our own biography. Inspired by your foster father's tales of chivalry and honor, from a young age you committed yourself to the pursuit of good and punishment of evil. Candlekeep is a world of many sacred and unspoken laws, and you have learned to uphold them all unquestionably. Your honesty and integrity have brought you to the attention of some of the Keep's great readers, but none of them have had cause to call upon your services yet. While the Citadel sees the passage of the occasional ne'er-do-well, its regimented atmosphere rarely needs to be purged of evil. The peace of your surroundings should be comforting, but instead you find it stifling. Like, I want to go kill stuff. You know your true place is traveling the realms, fighting evil wherever the need arises. That sounds very me for this paladin character. You know little of how you came to be a ward of Gorians, but over the years you have gleaned something of your mother's tale from his vague allusions and from the words he sometimes uttered in tear-filled sleep. She was a human from Silvery Moon and a friend of his for many seasons. Oh, she's from Silvery Moon. That's interesting. Silvery Moon is in like, I don't know if it's necessarily in the West. It's in like the northern part of Faerun, and it's basically a city of knowledge and magic, and they got a huge library there. It's all very cool. It was in one of the Drit's books, although they didn't really go very far into the city. It was touched on. As you have no memory of her, nor any keepsakes to remind you of her existence, you have come to believe that she died while giving birth to you. Perhaps it was the pain of such a parting that led Gorian to cloister himself within the narrow halls of Candlekeep and raise you as his own. Of your father, you have learned nothing. There we go. And we're not going to create a party because we're going to use the actual NPC characters. Here's our difficulty. So we have story mode, where we get all the benefits from easy and you can't die. That seems a little too easy to me, you know, for my tastes. Easy, you get a bunch of luck, enemies have their damage reduced by half, Party members cannot permanently die. Hit point rolls are maximized, and spells can be copied into spellbooks without failure. On normal, which is maybe what I'm gonna play on, enemies deal 25% less damage. Party members cannot permanently die. Hit point rolls are maximized, and spells cannot be copied into spellbooks without failure. On the core rules, just playing by the book. It's aimed at veteran players well-versed in AD&D, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, which is in just, I think, 2nd edition. Enemies deal full damage, party members can permanently die, and spells aren't guaranteed to be copied. I don't know if I want to do permanent death. The only thing with that is it's just gonna result in me just save scumming. I'm not gonna live with the permadeath. I'm just gonna play with the characters I want. So, yeah. Enemies inflict 50% more damage. They inflict 100% more damage. Or enemies have all the benefits of insane difficulty, as well as significantly more HP, improved Thaco, however you say it, better saving rolls, more attacks per round. Warning, it can only be selected at the beginning, and once selected, you can't change the Legacy of Ball difficulty. As much as I would want to do the core rules to have full damage of enemies, I'm not sure about the permadeath part. Because it's just gonna result in me just restarting encounters. That's what I did in Fire Emblem. Every single time someone died, I would just restart the battle over and over and over. And this game's 100 hours long, so I think I just want to get through the game. So I feel like I would go on normal. Probably normal. Probably normal. Anyway, we shall gather our party and venture forth.